G'day there guys, welcome back. Today we're reading some Am I the Arsehole? In our first story today, OP is asking if they're the arsehole for taking away their late daughter's clothes from the stepdaughter. There is a lot of grief going around in this story. It is quite a hard read at some points, but, it's worth it in the end. I hope you enjoy. Am I the arsehole for taking away my late daughter's clothes from my stepdaughter? My daughter passed away 6 months ago. It has been devastating for my family. We have all taken it hard. We have all avoided her room all summer. I am finally in a place to clean her room and give away most of her things. I was talking to my stepdaughter about it, and she wants them. She even went into her room and picked up some of her clothes. She has been wearing some of those clothes around the house. I hate it. I see her walking across the room and expect it to be my daughter. It makes me tear up a little and sends me to a very bad place. She has been wearing my daughter's clothes for a whole frickin' week. I can't take it anymore. I have gently asked her not to do it, but she still does it. She had done her laundry and kept the clothes lying around near the machine. I took my daughter's stuff and kept them away in my room. She noticed it and she screamed at me. She demanded that she wanted them and that she needs them. She was close to tears as well. I refused, and she is not talking to me. I feel like an asshole because I think I've hurt her. I don't know why she wants those clothes, but I feel like I didn't communicate this well. Now in the comments, no assholes here. She doesn't understand how her wearing those clothes impacts you, and you don't understand that her wearing those clothes probably helps her grief. Or she just thinks this stuff is cool. If the step-sibling situation is new, there may not be much of an attachment. Or, God forbid, she took them and wears them to feel close to her still. It could very well be a comfort thing and a way for her to try and cope with her loss. Like OP said, it was devastating for the whole family. Not the asshole OP, but I do recommend counseling for you both. My husband has been wearing all of his late brother's clothes and shoes all summer. He does it to feel close to him. There's one specific t-shirt where even I wince when he first walks into the room. But then I get over it, and it feels nice to seem like his brother is near. How was her relationship with your daughter? If they were close, wearing her clothes may help her cope with the loss of her stepsister. I am so sorry for your loss. And OP replies, they were close. I didn't understand what they could mean to her. I was selfish and a bit angry at her for wearing it. I started to realize it only after her reaction to taking the clothes away. Well, in that case, I'd say no assholes here. But you two need to come to a compromise somehow if it's going to continue hurting you to see her wearing those clothes. Maybe she can wear them as she goes about her day separately from you, and then change them when she comes home so she has the comfort throughout the day. No assholes here. Grief is strange. It can make us do things we don't understand. Maybe talk to your daughter about it, without any blame or anger or guilt if you can. If you don't know if you can, try some family therapy. A few sessions, just the two of you. This seems like it's important to the both of you, and working through it together could really be helpful for the both of you. I have lost immediate family too. My heart reaches out to you in commiseration. And now on to the update. This thread was hard to get through. I cried many times reading it. I have been a bad mother to my stepdaughter. I have been so lost in grief that I didn't deal with this properly. I asked her why she wanted the clothes. She pretended she wanted them because they were pretty, but I explained that whenever I saw her with those clothes on, I thought for a second that it was my daughter. She started to cry, and she apologized for doing it. She said it made it feel like she was hugging her sister. We talked about it, and we are going to make a memory blanket with some of her clothes. It's going to be difficult, but I think it would be good for us. I talked to my husband about going to family counseling. All three of us are pretending that we were doing fine because we don't want to pile on, and we tried to hide how close to falling apart all of us are. Thank you for all of the comments. I read them all. And now in the comments, I'm so glad this turned into a way to bring closure to your family. My condolences on your loss. Maybe make 2 blankets so you can have one and your stepdaughter can have one too. Stepdaughter's comment made me cry, I'll admit. Such a heartbreaking sentiment. It is how I feel every time I put on my partner's things. Wearing her clothes is like wrapping myself up in her memory. Since she died last year, it's the thing that gives me the most comfort on the bad days. After my grandma died, the person I was closest to in my family, and my parents started to get rid of her things, I took her old suitcase and tucked away all the things that reminded me of her the most. A couple jackets and sweaters, a few trinkets, and I sprayed some of her perfume before I sealed it up. It's been 6 years, and I still can't bear to put the things away. But every once in a while, I'll come to the corner to smell her perfume, and it feels like going home. I'm so sorry for the devastating loss that you've suffered. Grief isn't linear, and it definitely ebbs and flows. I hope that only the best memories, the highlight reel of your time together, plays when you think of her, and I hope you are able to find some amount of peace. Oh my goodness! I am a trauma therapist and am very proud of all 3 of you after reading this update. Grief is cruel and messy. The stages of grief are not linear and will jump up and sucker punch you and not stick around for you to defend yourself. It sounds like you are doing everything you can to correct the situation moving forward. I love the idea of the memory blanket. This way you don't have to worry about what to do when stepdaughter outgrows the clothes and everyone gets the hugs. Sending you so much love on the loss of your child. It is not the same, but I have been through multiple miscarriages. No heartbreaks like a mother's who's lost a child. If I can help you with finding a therapist in your area who specializes in grief and loss, feel free to inbox me. You and your family are on my mind and in my heart. Our next post is titled, Would I be the asshole if I set boundaries with my mum about my son? This is going to be a long one, so buckle up. I gave birth 6 weeks ago to my first child, a little boy. My mom was over the moon excited. I knew she might have a little trouble with boundaries, but it has gotten so much worse than I thought. For starters, she accidentally, whether truly an accident or not, I don't know, calls herself Mum. My dad has even done it. He said, I'll hand you to Mum, Mimi, her name instead of Grandma. He then proceeded to hand him to her, even though I asked for him. In addition, she won't let me hold him or do anything for him when I am at her house. If I tried to feed him, she jumps in and takes over. If he's laying down and wakes up and starts crying, she rushes to comfort him instead of giving me a chance. If I say, let me see him, she very seriously asks me why. I usually follow up with, because he's my son. She'll be very hesitant to hand him back, and it'll usually take a minute or 2. She also constantly says she loves me and my brothers, but she loves my baby more than us. She constantly implies her love for him supersedes the love my wife and I have for him. I have been recovering from a C-section for the past 6 weeks, and I am returning to my job next week. She is going to be my daycare. I am worried her lack of boundaries will result in him getting far too attached to her and not as attached to us. Now, you may be saying, of course you wouldn't be the asshole for setting boundaries, because that's what my wife says. I feel really bad because she's had a hysterectomy after she gave birth to me because of cancer when she desperately wanted more kids. She sees this as an opportunity to live vicariously through me. She also has untreated mental health issues that have not really been addressed by our family. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I feel like I may be the asshole because I'm being insecure, and my mum has been through a lot, and I don't want to make it worse. OP, I get where you're coming from here, but when you married your wife and when you had this kid, you signed up for putting them first and foremost. And if your wife doesn't think that this is the best approach, and you also don't think this is the best approach to parenting your child, where she is just taking so much of that attention to the point that it will negatively impact your relationship with your child and your wife's relationship, I think maybe listen to your gut instinct on this one. I understand it looks like a very much uphill battle with your mother, and there are many reasons coming down that hill as to why you potentially could be an asshole for this. But in this situation, and with what you've given me so far, I think you are not the asshole if you do set those boundaries up. I think it is necessary. I think it may be mean. It may really affect your mother, but It's necessary for your family. And you and your wife both wouldn't be assholes for doing so my judgment is not the asshole for this one. Now in the comments, not the asshole. If they can't respect the fact that you are the mum, don't let them spend time with your baby. Quote, she sees this as an opportunity to live vicariously through me. She also has untreated mental health issues. This is a problem that she needs to fix. Find alternative childcare. Do not let her babysit. Her behavior will only get worse with having so much unsupervised time with your child. Oh my gosh, no. Do not let her babysit. That will be a huge mistake. She has to learn some boundaries immediately. Not the asshole. Not the asshole for wanting to set boundaries. Now, this may make me unpopular, but after everything you said here, I feel you would be the asshole if you let her babysit. There is absolutely no way that she is going to respect your boundaries. I think she'll make this situation much worse, if you are correct and she has untreated mental health issues. She's going to view herself as the mum, and that's how she's going to have your son refer to her. She's actually doing it right now, in front of you. You honestly believe she's going to do as you wish when you are not around to supervise them? If she is your daycare and this goes south, you will only have yourselves to hold accountable. Letting someone in her situation, with her frame of mind, watch your son, is like leaving an addict who is not in any treatment with their favorite drug and expecting them not to use it because you told them not to. And OP replies, this is probably the one that I needed to hear the most. I'm a very non-confrontational person. I'm scared I won't have anybody to watch my child. I'm suffering from postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, so I don't trust daycare. But at least there would be healthy boundaries. Also, please change her grandma name to something not Mimi. That lets her use the excuse of letting the kid call her mama. I understand your apprehension about leaving your child with people you don't know. I don't know what your options are for daycare, but do your research. Find the one that you feel will work best and that you can afford. Please, be sure to discuss your PPD with your doctor. You want to be sure that it's being addressed. Make sure that you are speaking to your wife about your concerns and that you are both together in what you feel is best for both you and your son. When it comes to your health and your son, you will need to be strong. You may need to confront your mom and make certain that you are being respected. Set your boundaries and enforce them. Stay strong. You can do this. Not the asshole. Yeah, this is already really unhealthy. What happens when your mom starts making decisions about how to care for her baby that you don't agree with? I think you need a different solution for childcare, and your mom needs therapy. Her hysterectomy is not your fault. Your baby is your baby, and you need to be respected as his mother. Big boundaries. Listen to your wife. And now on to the update. I took everyone's advice to heart. I've only ever wanted to keep my son safe and happy. I sat my mum down with my wife, and we tried to have a civil discussion about boundaries. She flipped the F out and started accusing us of taking him away from her. She said things like, "How do you expect me to just not love him?" We decided then we were gonna limit contact between him and her. We are financially in a place now where a licensed daycare is available to us, although since I receive WIC and other benefits, I want to reach out and see if we can receive assistance at all. I have not taken him completely out of her life, however I am much more firm with her. Like some of you said, I demanded she change her nickname to Grandma instead of Mimi. I would repeat things firmly such as, "I am his mother and I am taking my baby now." However, she has not let up with her obsession over him. She regularly refers to him as our baby when bragging about him. She has actually gotten worse and now criticizes everything I do as a mother. She is very quick to get upset when he reacts positively to me, since, I'm his mom, and doesn't react the same to her. I am considering going completely no contact with her for this reason. However, it may take a bit, because I have to separate myself from her in a lot of ways. I just wanted to update and thank everybody for the advice. It really woke me up to the fact that I was thinking of her and her needs over the health and safety of my son. Now in the comments, I'm sorry that you are going through this. I had a similar experience with my mom, although my mom was pretty tame compared to yours. She started giving him a nickname that I hated and had to be very forceful about. I had to hammer home some boundaries, which resulted in her crying to my dad and sister. Then I had to set my dad and sister straight too. It was an uncomfortable time. I ultimately threatened to move hundreds of miles away, and then everybody started to behave. I was consistent with boundaries, and I think that's why everyone started to behave better with me and my son. And OP replies, I have been very consistent with boundaries. I don't want to take him out of her life completely because my in-laws are not consistent, and I want him to have grandparents. But it's getting to the point that no contact seems to be the best bet. My mom was also very verbally abusive to me growing up and shows a lot of signs of being a narcissist. It is just a hot mess, but I'm glad I had a bunch of strangers telling me what I was already thinking. Look, shitty grandparents are not better than no grandparents. My sister and I really regret that my mom felt forced to keep her abusive mother in our lives. Grandma caused a lot of emotional pain and confusion. It's hard to be a little kid and realize your grandma is mean, crazy, or nasty to your mom. Not the asshole, but I highly recommend going no contact for your child's well-being. And OP replies, yep, that's why we're going no contact. I've said in other comments, but it is extremely difficult for me to go no contact right now for a lot of reasons, but I am slowly separating and cutting him out of her life entirely. I want to do what is best for him. I'm low contact with my parents for various reasons, one of which is my own mother's response to my child. She loves my son. No questions about that, but she does similar to yours, just to a slightly lesser extent. My sister and I were pregnant at the same time, and made a joke about having our mother's name to the kids be something similar to Mum. TV show reference is why, but I didn't want my son to actually call her that for obvious reasons. Even after 4 years, my mother still makes snide remarks about how one kid calls her by her chosen grandma name, but my son just calls her grandma. Sometimes limiting or cutting off contact completely is the best choice parents can make for their kids. Best of luck to you in the future. Also, make sure your daycare knows to never release your child to her even if she claims there has been an emergency. No contact, I think, is the best bet. And make sure that actions have consequences if you eventually re-allow contact. Every time you refer to grandma as mum, we will immediately leave, and you are on a 2-week timeout. Anytime you do not immediately hand over my son when I ask, we will leave and go no contact for a week, etc., etc. You need to do this now, before she could possibly try to sue you for grandparents' rights. And adding to this, have a code word set with the daycare in case of emergency so there is no ambiguity or chance your mum can talk them round without it. OP, please be careful and maybe start limiting visits. As long as you let her have access to your child, she's going to keep up this behavior. You are doing great setting your boundaries, but your mum has also let you know that she does not understand or respect them even if she's following them for now. Keep that consistency. And when you get a daycare, please give them strict instructions about not letting your mother pick up your son. What she is doing is above and beyond an obsessive grandma. She wants your child to be her child. Don't worry about overreacting or how your relationship with her might be hurt. Your focus is on protecting your son. Keep at it and act with an abundance of caution regarding your mother. And OP replies, me and my wife already discussed that nobody on my side of the family is allowed to pick him up from daycare just in case. So, as it happens, I missed a section back up in that post, which I will read now, which is just, pain. Edit. Alrighty, buckle up. I know everyone wants to know how much of a nightmare she is. Her and my wife work at the same job. Should have mentioned that. It makes it way more complicated to separate from her. My wife is trans and is not out to anybody but me, my mum, and a few of her friends. Well, today my mother informed me, in confidence, that she outed my wife to her HR director. This is like a Lifetime movie, but it just keeps getting worse and worse. She put my wife's job at risk, making it so if she lost her job, it would be harder for us to support our child. I think that she has a bigger plan for all of this. And that's where I'm going to leave this one for today, guys. Random little tidbit because it's become relevant in my life so far. I've never actually done any sponsorships, and I don't know if I want to do them on this channel. Like, I have been offered them over email and everything, but I don't like mobile games, and I don't want to advertise anything to this channel that I feel is morally wrong. Like, the ones that I think would be cool and stuff might be like a VPN service, but one that I do use a lot is HelloFresh. This obviously isn't an advertisement itself. This is me just like, yeah, this is what I did. I really enjoy HelloFresh, actually. I like cooking now. I never really liked cooking in my life before. And I don't know, I've always just been lazy, and it's really nice to make food for myself all the time. So I guess for the people listening to this down in the comments below, would you be cool with me doing like a HelloFresh sponsorship if I ever got the offer for one? Curious to see what you guys think. Anyway, I hope you have a good one. Bye.